Jason Burmis here, and I got terrible news. Of Press for Truth, who has had a YouTube channel now for well over a decade, has posted several documentaries on that platform, has now been banned from YouTube, and his channel was taken down without warning. I fear the same thing for this channel every single day. Every single day I fear that. And when somebody like Dan, who to me is actually an essential worker, an essential part of truth, an essential part of questioning the narrative, especially in these very bizarre and weird times, and you just censor him and you take his channel away, yeah, that's dangerous. That's dangerous, man. And even people I don't agree with at all on any level, they should have channels. Freedom of speech is freedom of speech. But for somebody like Dan, who has put his heart and soul into revealing truths that many others will not talk about, to be taken down is extremely alarming. Now, he reached out to me while I was over getting breakfast here in South Dakota. Really interesting place, but I'll save that for another video. Because even before I stepped out of my hotel room, I did a Rockfin exclusive talking about not only YouTube censorship and, thanking people for supporting me there, but I mentioned Dan Dicks, not knowing this was the case. And why did I mention Dan Dicks? And by the way, 80 watching, 14 thumbs. Let's get the thumbs up. Let's get this out there. Because Dan Dicks was being censored by YouTube only a month and a half, 2 months ago, live in real time, when he was going out to anti-lockdown protests. Okay? Now, on at least 2 separate occasions, Dan was live streaming via YouTube at these protests, at these events, and YouTube just cut the feed and then deleted the video. Terrible. Awful. Horrible. Now, on the flip side of that, when he was out at the BLM protests and he was being assaulted by protesters, right? Assaulted, surrounded, and assaulted. I can't make that any clearer, okay? A mob of people came up to Dan Dicks, surrounded him. One guy is sitting there trying to play copyrighted music so that he can't have a voice on YouTube to get him kicked off that way. Then he's not only threatened, but bottles are thrown at him and hit him in the head. Luckily, they're plastic. He gets arrested. He gets arrested. All that's allowed. All that's allowed on YouTube. They keep that, but if you dare show people protesting the lockdowns, that was not allowed. And I was talking about it on Rockfin because I was like, you know what, Rockfin needs to get, and listen, this isn't a knock on them, but they need to let a device like that stream live from their app, and people will flock to it. That's what all these other alt platforms are really missing. A app that allows the Dan Dickses of the world, the Luke Rudkowskis of the world, the Jason Burmises of the world to report live via a mobile device, because it is that live stream from a mobile device that can reach a multitude of people and tell them the truth. Now, if you're not supporting Press for Truth, I would say now is the time to do so more than ever. If you haven't reached out to Dan Dicks, now is the time to do so more than ever. Remember, Dan, after being assaulted and having some of his gear basically destroyed and taken away from him, he started a GoFundMe. And as you guys know, the GoFundMe is how I'm able to do this, right? Because I've been fully demonetized on this platform. They did that to Dan. Over $7,000 via the GoFundMe after, people see how he's treated, and GoFundMe deletes that. Why? Dan isn't vulgar. Dan is not a part of hate speech. Dan's not fake news. In fact, shout out to Dan for doing a really reasonable report on the Wayfair situation yesterday. I watched it. In fact, that may be the very last video he posted via that platform. And what are you going to say? That Dan Dix was promoting the Wayfair conspiracy when he was debunking it? You know, he did a video much like this one, just him and a phone and some recordings and explaining it and then cutting some B-roll in. That's the last video he gets. And then you just arbitrarily decide he's harmful content, he's hate speech. What's going on in 2020 that we're allowing this? I mean, class action lawsuits have to start because these aren't corporations, and that's the first thing we need to point out. YouTube, you are not a corporation. You are an arm of Google, which is not a corporation. It is a fascistic technopoly endorsed by the media, military, industrial complex. It is in full business with the United States government and NASA via what? Artificial intelligence and quantum computing. That is not a business you regulate in the manner they're telling you as a utility. That is not what that is. And it was never that. And at the same time, that business will go outside of the U.S. government and send their representatives, such as Eric Schmidt, former CEO, former consultant. Now apparently he's got nothing to do with Google. Okay, sure. Oh, did I just flash a white power symbol? That wasn't what that was. I literally said okay while I did it. I don't endorse neo-Nazism. I don't endorse white supremacy at all. The symbol's been around forever, and it was a sarcastic okay. Okay, Eric, sure you don't. He goes over to China, and what does he do? He creates a censored version of their search engine called Dragonfly. These people need to be reined in. They need to be reined in right now. Okay, and it's not left versus right. It is the predator class versus all of us. 59 thumbs up, let's double that. And everybody thinks it's so easy to just have another platform, and we're all going to go to that platform. And shout out to the other alt platforms, you know. Obviously, I'm partial to Rockfin because it's been good to me. Okay? In 4 minutes, Titus? Man, I'm going to get a haircut after this because I can't check into my new hotel until 4 p.m. But I'm going to have to check that out too. Thank you for that, Titus. I appreciate that, my man. It's definitely something to look at. But Titus, watch out. If they're pulling down channels like Dan Dix and Press for Truth, you know, yours may be next. Mine may be next. I wasn't even going to do this video, but again, I'm sitting down having breakfast at a Denny's here in South Dakota that also has a casino, by the way. South Dakota is very different. Stop to get gas, casino. Denny's, casino. No one's wearing masks here, by the way. There's no weirdness so far. I've yet to see a person in this state wearing a mask. I've yet to see a thing telling me I have to wear a mask to go into a store. I'm liking it, quite frankly. Quite frankly, this is what we need to be doing, is more of what South Dakota is doing. It got you banned live twice on your whole channel yet. And again, Dix does a video basically criticizing the Wayfair thing, similar to what I said, saying it was weird and there's something there. But yeah, Sean Atwood gets to cover whatever. Sean Atwood's not even fully demonetized, you know. Not to crap on Sean Atwood at all, because I've seen some of his stuff. Some of it's good. Some of it's not my cup of tea. For instance, Sean Atwood was really the first person to give legitimacy to John Dugan, who Dugan was supposedly, you know, Rick Perry's friend, you know, one of the initial and investigators in the Palm Beach case of Epstein. Okay. And Dugan said he had all these tapes and he's in Russia and he's got, you know, them encrypted in 5 different spots. And, you know, he says basically he's got the dead man switch going on. Okay. Who knows? But I don't trust Dugan. There's been a lot of disinfo out of Dugan. And then Atwood was actually, he reached out to me several months ago. Had one of it, whoever handles his booking or whatever, they reached out to me. They said, would you like to come on the show? I said, yes, I'd like to come on the show. Thank you for the invite. 2 weeks later, crickets. I check back in. I say, hey, I was just wondering if you're still interested. Let's see what he's got to say. And the other thing is, so I get back to him, and then it's 2 weeks later, and I've been fully demonetized at this point. But apparently, I was told Atwood had a couple of his videos demonetized, so he had to be careful, and basically I got canceled. That's fine. I get it. Everybody's got to protect their income, but you know, it is odd, as Titus is saying, that Atwood, who, for those who know, he's a convicted ecstasy dealer. He has a pretty incredible story involving Sammy the Bull Gravano and all these different things, and yet he's allowed to talk about these things rather openly and freely. Okay? And I don't know whether that's because he's been able to gain a large fan base. I don't know if that's because the majority of his work isn't really speculating beyond what's in mainstream articles that he reads on air. But as far as I know, his channel is still up for monetization. He's not worried about being kicked out. Man, I'm watching fighter jets out here in South Dakota. Right in front of me. There's 2 of them flying around. Interesting. Saw some in Missouri for the first time, too. That's new to me. Oh, there's a 3rd one. Man, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Probably not. But it's right over, yeah, you're not going to be able to see it with there. I can see it. It's basically over that motor vehicle building, fading into obscurity. That's the 3rd one. Man, interesting stuff here in South Dakota. But let me wrap this video up, guys. We need to support Dan Dix. You don't have to agree with everything that Dan Dix says. I disagree with certain things that Dan Dix says. Okay? But we need to support independent media. I know that man for over 10 years. His heart is in the right place. He's actually a Christian. You know, I mean, he's the real deal. I don't talk about religion that much. I'm not one of those religious proselytizers, but when I know somebody and I know what's in their heart and I know who they are, it bothers me. It bothers me. Because, again, this is a Christian man who tries to do good by everybody, has never done me wrong, and is on the ground reporting whether you agree with him or not, going to big events, has a large audience, and just one day, YouTube decides to arbitrarily pull him off the air. It's sad. Titus, I'm going to be checking out the Ghislaine Maxwell testimony in a moment. Probably put it on my phone while I drive out to my next location. This afternoon, when I check into my hotel, I'm going to try to get Dan on. Hopefully we'll have good internet. I'm going to set it up, and we're going to get a full interview on how you can help him. Remember, guys, I'm fully demonetized on this channel. I need your support now more than ever. Thumbs the video up on the way out. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you can financially support me, it's always appreciated. It's how we're doing this trip. It's how we're bringing you info on the ground. And I just want to say I love you guys, and I will see you all on the flip.